on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that kills stupidity in the street where everybody can see it, just for fun, and then make sure it's dead by double capping it in the head. We're going to have a debate because it's Monday night. This originally was going to be with Flat Ferdinand, but he is a little chicken bitch who says he will only come on my channel if I pay him $500. So screw that guy. Instead, we've got Mr. That Laser is Broken, Vlad. How are you doing, sir?
Good, good. Hey, you get what you pay for, man. You're stuck with Vlad. What can I say?
Just want to say congratulations for your 6th place in Dumb Fuck of the Year.
Next year, I'm going for gold, man. I don't really like it.
I know this. Brainy Beaver is your Brainy Beaver's your sponsor, so make him proud.
He believed in me, but I got 6th. I let him down. You know, 2020 is my year.
Vlad, considering that you'd only been on the scene for a couple of months, 6th place was pretty damn good, and well done on Brainy for pushing that. Also with us today, as always, we have Team Skeptic. Have you recovered from your beating from Nathan Thompson yet?
Oh yeah, no, I'm so deadly beaten down. I was nervous, and I have 6 black eyes now, intellectual black eyes.
Is that to go with your 19 pack?
Apparently, yeah. It gave me a 19 pack with all 6 black eyes. The flat earthers that are coming to my comment section are so dumb, though. They're like, "When are you gonna post the debate?
Yeah,
Dude, you so scared to post the debate? Hey, you guys are fucking morons. It's up on Modern Day Debate where the debate took place. I'm not just going to take their videos and post it as one of my own, but you can go watch it on your own if you'd like. Tomorrow night we will be having an after show to kind of talk with everybody about it and take any questions from the audience. So that may have been there, because there's people that are asking me if it was hard for me to be calm and this and that and keep, not hit him, and I'm like, no, it was fucking super easy, So, but we'll talk about all that tomorrow.
There was somebody there who's been messaging me, and they said that, I'll read what, I'm not going to tell you who it is. Some of you might know, but this is what he said to me. Story of how much of a douche nodule Nathan Thompson is. While I was fake fanboying him before the debate, I tried to hit on Always Crazy to see how he'd respond, brought up his workout stuff. His immediate reaction was to make me touch and push down to see how strong his tendon was in his forearm. Immediately started showing off. Guess what? It felt like a normal tendon. He was literally proud of being, he was proud of literally nothing special.
Was that from the night of the debate?
Yeah. And
okay,
you know who that is.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I know who it is, yeah. It's hilarious.
But enough about that waste of human space. We are here tonight because Rad Vlad would like to talk to me about ISS and space travel. I'm guessing you don't think any of it's real, Vlad?
Looks fake to me.
Looks fake to me. Right. Got any evidence of that?
Well, how do you feel about those ISS bloopers, Craig?
Basically people not understanding how videos work. Have you got any evidence of a blooper, a video that I could show or something?
My favorite one is where there's 2 astronauts standing kind of floating next to one another. There's kind of a short guy, older looking guy with a hat, and then a younger looking guy, but he's maybe 50, and he's tall and slender. He reaches across the shorter guy, and he grabs an object. He passes it from one hand to the other and then places it what appears to be like on a shelf or something. Only problem, there's nothing there. So, the green screen that we see when we're looking at the footage, which is where the fakery takes place, wasn't working properly. So the acting he was doing, the pantomime, flopped. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I think I know the one you mean. And he literally did have something in his hand that he was putting over to the side.
But why didn't
the thing see it? Maybe because it was really small. But you're suggesting that there is some kind of augmented reality that they have, that they're reacting with in real time. Is that right?
Yeah, but let me ask you again. What do you think was in his hand? What, because the position of his hand looked like he's holding like a flea. Like if I held a flea, I would. I don't know where my own camera is here.
I'd have to see
It's
the
hard
exact
to-
video that you're on about. Have you got a link to it or anything that you could send me, and I'll bring it up?
He didn't. You see my hand? He didn't hold it like this. He held it like I'm way off behind time. He held it. I'm having a hard time with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a popular video, but I haven't seen it. I searched for it because I wanted to have it handy when I debate you, but it seems like they took it off
right, okay.
YouTube.
I've got the one that I think you're on about.
That'd be great if you had it. Someone's calling me. I'm going to wait for them to blow away.
People always call you when we're talking. You should put your phone into airplane mode or something. Right.
Someone's calling me, Craig. It's going to wait for them.
I know. It go away.
Whenever I'm talking to you, people are calling me.
Right. So is
The waters,
is
the
it this
shallow
one you're on
waters
about?
in the Caribbean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, now, Craig, this somebody.
Oh, well, like, he's not even, like, picking up anything. He's just moving his hands.
Oh, man. How are you going to get out of that one, Craig?
Well, what do you think that he's
I
doing?
wouldn't want to be you right now. Hey, Craig, you know what happened? Somebody called me and it cut the sound, so I'm gonna reconnect again. I'm gonna go and come back. So just wait for me.
All right.
Prepare something to say because this is bad for you guys. I'll be back in a minute. Unbelievable, man.
So what's he actually doing here, team?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was I was having fun in the chat while y'all were talking. I wasn't paying attention. Let me click over here and see what he's looking at. Give me 1 second. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, now what's the claim?
The computer software is glitching and he's not actually picking up something. I think that he's just moving his hands about and reaching up to grab the ledge on the side. Okay, Craig, I hear you now. I didn't hear
so
a couple minutes back.
Okay. Go on, team.
Go ahead.
I'm guys right now, so let me hear you.
I'll let you guys talk, but go ahead.
Right, so I don't even think that he's like interacting with anything. He's literally just moving his hands about, right? And then he reaches up to the side to hold on to the bar or something that's keeping him steady. There's nothing in his hands. He's not interacting with anything. And
Craig,
that's all there is to
so
it,
what,
really.
Okay, Craig, the motion, come on, Craig. You weren't born yesterday. You've been living for a while. We know how people move.
Yeah.
He's obviously reaching for something that isn't there, that's, supposed to be there. That's how I would reach for an object and it off from one hand to the other. But the problem is, it just went away. The problem is the trick didn't work. Whatever trick they're implementing failed, and we got to see that. And
have you seen
one of my favorite
the entire clip, the entire thing? I mean, to me, right, what this looks like to me is that the guy is attempting. He thinks, I'm going to cross my arms.
In South.
He thinks he's going to crossing his arms, but then he changes his mind, and then reaches his hand out to the side to grab onto that railing, that blue railing that you can see.
You can say that with a straight face, Craig?
Yeah. All right, let's just watch again. Where his right hand go? Well, it'll be his left hand. What's his left hand doing? Like, it's not like if you look at his left hand, right? So here you got his left hand is on his waist, right? The motion that he makes with his left hand is not to pick anything up, right? He's not reaching out to just look, right? He's not reaching out to the guy. He's not opening his hand to receive anything. He's just moving his hands around, and then he steadies himself instead of crossing his arms.
Okay, but you see how his hand, when his hands come together right there, you saw how they kind of open up as if he has an object. He had in one hand and then opens the other hand to place it into that hand from one hand right there to there and then back over there.
Yeah, he's just moving his hands. I mean, that's not evidence of anything. Have you seen the original clip that's from? Does it look like he's trying to do anything? Should we hear what they're saying? One sec.
Yeah, let's.
So far,
Oh no, I've never moved my
I like the waters, the shallow waters in the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific, or southeast Pacific, or me.
To me, it literally just looks like he is reaching out his hand. He thinks about crossing his arms, then he changes his mind and then rests his hand on that blue bar on the left, to steady himself. It doesn't even look like he's trying to grab anything. And the reason I say that is because I'll play it slower so that I can...
the shallow waters in the Caribbean or the atoll.
Shush. Right, I'm going to play it slower so that I can tell you the bit that I mean. Right, so watch his left hand, the one that's on his waistband, right? Does it look like he reaches up to grab anything?
Let's see.
All right, I'm playing it in quarter speed. So, as his hand lifts up about now, does it look like he goes to grab anything? No, that's not a motion of grabbing something.
Let's see. Well, because he's not grabbing anything, he's pretending to. But
yeah,
okay,
but if you were pretending to grab something, you would make the motion of grabbing something.
You see how he's pinching his thumb and index finger together? Look, when he reaches out with that left hand you're talking about. Let's analyze that first move. You're saying it doesn't look like he's grabbing anything. It looks like he's grabbing, like he's grabbing the brim of that hat, like as though he's grabbing also that hat. Okay, but okay, let's see. Look, watch his thumb and his first finger. See, tippy, and then passed it to there.
That is, to me, that's not the motion of someone grabbing something.
Okay. Well, okay.
And then the other thing is when he then reaches his right arm over to the shelf. That's not the motion. Well, there's not even a shelf there; it's a bar. So there's not even anywhere where he could be putting something. So.
Well, what about the part? No, there is. There's a surface there. But what about the part?
No.
Then
that blue is a bar. It's like a bar that goes out, and there's like equipment stashed behind it. But that's not a place where he would just dump something, because on the ISS you could just kind of leave it floating around, as the hat is doing. But the suggestion that there is some kind of super advanced augmented reality is a bit stupid, because I bought myself a VR headset at Christmas, right? It cost me like 400 quid. It's it's the pinnacle of entertainment at the moment. It's the best graphics that we can get and everything. Yet it still looks pretty shit compared to real life. There just isn't the technology to fake this kind of stuff in real time. It literally doesn't exist.
Okay, let me ask you this. So the left hand looks like it may have grabbed something, or you're saying it did not. So that we could call that a stalemate. To me, it looks like he possibly used his thumb and his first finger to grab something thin. You're saying no. And then the right hand, I say there is a space that where he could set something there. You're saying no. Okay, that's fine. We've got a stalemate there. But talk to me about that move right there in the middle.
Like I said, I think it looks like he's thinking about crossing his arms, but then decides not to, and instead steadies himself by reaching out his right arm to grab that blue railing.
No, but if you're going to cross your arms, one arm goes over the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He thinks about it, but then decides not to do it.
But if he was going to cross his arms, why does he open up his fingers and his hands as though there's an object there?
Well, when I cross my arms, let me put myself up and I'll show you what I mean. Right. So when I cross my arms, I'll be like this. My hands are open, crossed. So I just think that he was going to cross his arms, decide to change his mind, and then reached out to grab the thing on the right or to his left.
Mimic what he did. Let me see you do what he did.
So he reaches out, his arm goes out, and then he thinks, and then like that. So his hands, as he goes to cross, which he doesn't do, opens his hands like you would do if you're crossing your arms, but then instead reaches out to steady himself on the railing. It's as simple as that.
Craig, you failed the lie detector. Let me see what Team Skeptic says about it. Is he really skeptical?
Yeah.
Let me hear.
Team.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if you want my opinion, I'll give you my opinion because. All right. So, in my opinion.
Right,
Go ahead.
Vlad, let him respond.
What?
But let me just introduce.
What?
Let me
Hold
introduce
on.
him.
Ask your question. What?
Your name that you go by is Team Skeptic because you have a skeptical mind. Skeptic. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe your bullshit, but yeah.
Right. Anyway.
So knowing who the kind of man you are, the kind of mind you have, skeptical mind. Let me hear you tell me about this. I want to hear from a skeptical man because Fight the Flat Earth is a believer.
Yeah, it's no problem. If you'll quiet down that diatribe you're about to go on and let me answer the fucking question, I'll be more than fucking happy to do that. Okay, so when you're in 0G like that, you can kind of think about it inside of a swimming pool. If you don't have any way of turning yourself or keeping yourself maintained in a certain orientation, how do you correct your orientation when floating in a pool? You move your arms around, right? Almost like, and you can easily see, like, go back and let it play from the beginning. You can easily see this guy's not looking at anything he's grabbing at all, whatsoever, okay? He just takes his arm out and swings it to one side. Hold on, turn the audio down. He takes his arm, swings it to one side, which is, which is going to start turning his body because they're in 0G or microgravity. So as he does that, it's going to start turning his body in the opposite direction of which way he's moving his hand. And guess how to keep yourself from completely turning in that direction? Well, you have to get something going in the opposite direction. And what is that? That's his other arm going to the other side. It's just reorienting himself. It's keeping his balance in space so he's orienting in the same way. You turn the same way when you're in a swimming pool. You use your hands to turn. Same thing with ice skaters. Ice skaters do the exact same thing with their hands. It's all about conservation of momentum.
All right, so from now on, brother,
look. Why is he not? He doesn't even look at his hands when he puts them together. He doesn't even look where he's setting down the whatever he's supposedly supposed to be carrying.
All right, I hear you. You want to talk? I mean, make some more points. I mean, you're repeating yourself. I hear what you're saying. You guys want me to talk now, or are you going to keep talking?
So, but mine and Team's answers are basically the same. The fact that he just needs to steady himself because he's in space. And as Team says, it's all to do with the conservation of momentum. As he... let me play it from this bit so I can just... As he moves his arm towards his body, it starts shifting his
Look at his legs.
Body.
Look at his legs.
Yeah.
No. Look, yeah.
His entire
look at his
body
legs.
starts moving on the
Vlad, he spreads his legs out to keep... Look, yeah, he spreads his legs out to keep himself from turning. That's how an ice skater would do it on ice skates. They would put their hands out to slow down their angular speed. That's exactly what he's doing. It's all. If you can't see that, then you're just either scientifically not capable of understanding these concepts, or you're just you're just believing what you want to believe and what you want to see with your own two eyes, and you're saying that's the way it must be because that's what I believe.
All right, well, I'm not so worried about his legs, what his legs were doing. If he's staying himself or not, that's fine. But the move he does with his hands, like Dragon Ball Z, like he's making one of those Dragon Ball power balls. You know what I mean? Remember Dragon Ball Z?
I mean, that'd be cool if he was playing Dragon Ball. But like the main thing that Team pointed out there was that when he is doing this movement, does he look in the direction of his hands at all? Right, answer me that, Vlad. Does he look at his hands?
Nope.
How can he be playing with augmented reality objects if he's not even looking at his hands?
He did look for a moment. If you go back a little, I think he looked over. But you don't. I can pick something up without looking at it. You know where it is. You kind of see your peripheral vision. I'm holding my phone right now. I don't need to look at it. I set it down. I can pick it up without looking at it. That's not a big deal.
Right.
So
do you have any other evidence? Oh, sorry, just one sec. Chat, just initiate the Vicky treatment for Joey Rocha, please. Yeah, sorry. Have you got any other evidence that the ISS could possibly be fake? Because that just complies with the laws of physics.
Yeah, but let me give my 2 cents in. If you
Yeah,
guys roll back one more time.
Okay, I'll play it from the beginning at half speed.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there, if you can. Can you stop right there?
Yeah, I've stopped.
Okay. All right, the way he reached for that. I'm glad you guys played this part of it because I'm not familiar with the whole clip. I didn't see this part where he actually plays with the hat as well. I thought maybe he had a separate object from the guy in the blue shirt. So as you see, like I was saying, indicating before, I hadn't even seen this. The way you'd pick up a hat like that would be with your forefinger and your thumb. And that's exactly what he does. So he's also engaged with that hat. He's playing with it.
So are you saying that hat is fake?
Yeah. We see that when he see there he thought he reached for the hat. He got a little confused. I don't know what happened.
Hold on. No, you're not going to get away with that bullshit. Because look, the guy in the blue on the right, he's not confused about whether he's holding the hat or not. So why would the guy in the green all of a sudden be confused? If they're all being fed this and it's all green screened and they all just see it through augmented reality, wouldn't the guy in the blue and the guy in the green both see the guy in the blue holding the hat in his hand? You're not going to bullshit your way through this one, all right? Be consistent with your beliefs, and maybe you can come to an accurate conclusion instead of saying, yeah, the guy in the blue is augmented reality. He thinks he's holding the hat. The guy in the green is augmented reality. He thinks he's holding the hat. It's the same program feeding them the same information, but they're each getting different information. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, well, team, from now on, your name will be Team Believer. You're not Team Skeptic anymore. Your name will be Team Believer. That's how I'm going to refer to you.
You're Rad Laser, so it's all good.
All right, that's okay. You got me with that one. So now, and I'm gonna just.
Bro, you should change. You should legitimately change it. You should change your YouTube name to Rad Laser. That gives you the total allure of a 1980s villain.
Just change it to "There's something wrong with that laser."
Hey, look, put it back one more time. I just want to give my 2 cents so we can move on. Because Fight said what he thinks. A Believer said what he
Sad
thinks.
Vlad. That was amazing. Somebody, Craven Mordig says Sad Vlad. I like that one too.
Yeah. All right, come on then. Give us your thoughts on this.
Vlad is sad because I'm sad you guys can't be honest and tell the truth. That does make me sad. Make me very sad because it's obvious what's happening here. I'm just going to say, we already know. I'm just going to say one more time. We heard what Fight said. We heard what Believer said. I'm saying the guy in the green screwed up. He believed that he was grabbing that hat and he's playing his part as he's manipulating it there. And he simply passed it from one hand to the other and placed it on that shelf. There's no other way to explain the movement he did. He didn't cross his arms. That's not how you move when you cross your arms. You don't go to cross your arms and change your mind and put it back. He's obviously passing an object from one hand to the other and setting it on that shelf. That's what I see. That's what anybody who's being honest. You can tell a different story and spin it a different way, but in your hearts, you guys both know what the truth is. And anyone listening,
first off,
I want to ask you a question. Hold on. I want to ask Vlad a question. Vlad, I want to ask you a question. What color do you think the screen is behind them that they're keying out?
Hey, I'm just going to finish up with this. The 230 people, whatever, listening, they know it too. They know it too. They know
450.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, now back to my question. Okay. I want to know what color you think the backdrop is that they're keying out? Vlad, just answer my question, please. What color do you think the background is that they're keying out? Because it's not yellow, it's not blue, it's not green, it's not red, it's not going to be light brown or anything like that. We're not seeing any keying artifacts here, and there's a multitude of colors. Now, there's reasons why they pick certain colors to be the backdrops when they're doing color key, because cameras pick up on them better, and they're typically not something a lot of people would wear. I mean, sometimes they do use blue screens, but not typically when people are wearing blue shirts, you know. They don't use green screens when people are wearing green shirts. So what color is the key, what color is the backdrop that you think? I'm not saying for sure, that you think. Because, I mean, it can't be red because we see red in the skin, we see yellow in the skin, we see dark colors in the hair, we see khaki colors like lighter brown colors and earthy tones in the jeans. Why are we not seeing any keying artifacts coming out of this when they're so obviously all the colors of the spectrum are literally in the picture as we're looking at them?
All I know is the move he made is passing an object from one hand to the other. That's how we all do it. Only problem is there was nothing there.
That didn't answer Team's question, right?
No, I don't know what color the background is.
Yeah, right.
Craig, I don't know.
Yeah, but
what does it matter?
It matters because when you're saying that they're in a studio or something, we're pretending about this, okay? Now, if you're in a studio and you have to lay stuff over the top of it, you do something called chroma key, okay? Now, the process behind chroma key is removing a solid color and replacing it with something else. Now, generally, there is two colors that you use for chroma key, green or blue, because they are the easiest colors for the computer to see to remove. What colors are their two shirts?
I don't know. I don't care. I don't know how they do the trick, but I know that there was a mistake made, and I see it. How they do it and how they fucked up, I don't know. But I do know they should.
Right. So you think there's an issue, but you don't know or have any evidence as to why, when we can conclusively say that there is no kind of chroma keying going on, and also due to the fact that I spent a hell of a lot of money on VR, and it's nowhere near as technologically advanced as you would like to think we are. It's just the evidence that they are interacting with some kind of AR object simply isn't there.
They can do those special effects guys can do something like that with their hands tied behind their back.
Not in real time they can't. Trust me, I do special effects and stuff myself. I know how long and how hard the process behind special effects are. There is simply no way they could be doing that in real time. The technology does not exist.
Who says it's in real time?
Because this was live.
How do you know that?
Because they were answering questions from the audience.
So
it was live.
so they're all in on it. It's all a group. It's not one guy. It's not two guys doing it. Everyone in the studio audience was in on it, or they were seeing it. But
were you there, Fight? But yeah, hold on, Vlad. I'm gonna get on Vlad's side right here. But Fight, were you there? Were you in the ISS to make sure that the calls were coming in? Did you also have like a doppelganger clone that was down with the people asking the questions that you guys were verifying to make sure that it was live? Yeah, exactly. There you go. Hey, prove that wrong there, Vlad. Prove that wrong. Look at that. Captain Fight of the Flat ISS right here.
Yeah, I've been on the ISS, man. It's not fake.
You guys got me there, man.
Yeah, hey, hold on, Vlad. The other point I want to say, you're saying it's not live. So if it's not live, what do you think happened? Do you think NASA just said, fuck it. Yeah, we fucked that one up. Obviously he misgrabbed the hat. Goddamn astronauts. Like, why didn't they just not put that out if it wasn't live? Why did they leave in the air? Why did they not go to the extra extent of making sure that lie that they make $50 million a day on? Why? These are the questions you need to ask yourself before you come to your conclusions.
Team believer, believe it anyway, so I can't convince you. But the why is a hard one to give you. I can't give you why who, what, why, what, who, when, where, and how. But I know what. I know bullshit when I see it. I know when somebody screws up. But why they did it? Why would they? Why would they let it leak out? If it was a bad blunder, why would they even let it leak out so the guys like me can see it? Why would they do that? They could have just
that's a good question.
scrapped it.
They wouldn't.
Right.
They wouldn't, Vlad. They wouldn't. That's the thing. They wouldn't.
NASA are so clever that they've perpetrated this hoax on all of humanity for nearly 60 years, but they're also stupid enough to let a tiny little blunder like that out. If this was all being faked, every single second of every bit of footage would be agonized over and would be 100% perfect. The reason you can see things that seem to be mistakes is because they're doing shit live. They would hide it from you if they made a mistake, and they wouldn't let people see that. If you would only ever see absolutely perfect things, because NASA are either really clever or fucking stupid. One of the two.
Well, they're not. Who's staging all this the deception that's being played upon human beings? They're not stupid. It's not stupid.
Exactly. If they're not stupid, why would they let a mistake like this go out to the public?
Well, we can speculate, but
you can speculate. I'd like evidence.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Some people in the truth community believe that these blunders are allowed to leak out on purpose so that those of us who can see this stuff are able to see it. Because the deception can't be so perfect that you don't have any excuse.
Wait, so are you saying that somebody on the editing team is a whistleblower?
No, but they purposely allow the stuff to leak out so some of us can't see that it's true.
Why?
It's hard to answer that. It could be some kind of cosmic karma that there's certain rules that aren't allowed to be transgressed, that they have to play according to as well as we do. A lot of us don't know the rules, and we can't keep rules we don't know. Possibly the ones deceiving us are bound by some type of set of rules that they can't break. They can't deceive completely and utterly. There has to be some sort of hint here and there.
So your evidence is that they're lying, but they're letting little bits of truth out just so the flat earthers can find it.
Not flat earthers, but people who realize
don't know what they're talking about.
No. I mean, this life has consequences. Choices we make here in this life have a consequence, and ultimately, we choose between God or not God, turning our back on God. So, if the deception is so great that we have no chance to choose right, it wouldn't be a fair fight, really, fight the flat Earth.
Who's leaking this out?
Well, like I said, whoever's doing it may be obligated to leak a little bit out, because that's not just one blunder.
Why?
There's a bunch of them.
Have you got any evidence of that?
I told you why. Why I think. I don't know for sure. I can't prove it to you.
Okay, right. So how about we look at the actual footage where that's from? Would you like to do that?
Sure.
So this is the video that footage is from. I just want to say thank you to Mike JH for directing me to that. And he says timestamp 18 minutes and 16 seconds. So let's go to here. Make sure the audio's on so everybody can hear it. And we'll just play that and see what happens.
So far from me, I like the waters, the shallow waters in the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue of the other
look at that.
the
He's
ocean
interlocking his
and
fingers.
the islands is just magnificent. It's just so beautiful for me.
So
before we were on the ground, and you still built it up
that
here.
he
It's great to have a crewmate that has that kind of ability and desire. So far from me.
So, like I was saying, maybe not crossing his fingers. Maybe he was going to interlock his fingers, but because of the movement, realized that he needed to steady himself. Then once he was steadied, he then interlocked his fingers. What you need to do, what you need to do, Vlad, is instead of just finding tiny clips that flat earthers and idiots have made that only show a little bit, you need to find the entire context behind things. Right?
Well, we know what you think. We know what Team Believer says. We know what you guys know deep down inside. We know what I believe. We can move on to another one.
Cool.
You're not going to change my mind. Listen, you guys are going to change my mind about it. I'm not going to get you to confess the truth, so we can move to another one.
Okay.
And I think everyone.
I think everyone can see.
Obvious. Hey, look, it's obvious. It's obvious what happened there. Everybody can see it. You guys, your Pinocchio noses are growing. I don't see Team Believer, but I see you, Skeptic. I mean, you, Craig. So it's all right.
Well, can Vlad? Would you mind if I just? Vlad, would you mind if I just? Would you mind if I just pointed out one thing that I saw right at the end?
Go ahead, Believer.
Okay. Fight. Will you pull that video back up? Pull the video up to the point where the guy in the green hat grabs or the green shirt grabs the blue hat. It's right there. And tell me whether he looks at himself grabbing the hat or not. Because earlier he didn't really look at it. You would think it would be a natural tendency for someone to do the same thing multiple times. See, he didn't look, right? But he was grabbing something and didn't look. Now go to the point. Yeah, let it play. Now watch him grab the hat. Watch what he does. He looks first. And then he follows it with his eyes. Let's see. You have to go back a little bit. I think it was right before that. It was like right after that.
Oh yeah, so yeah, he looks at it.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. Every time he touches it, looks at it, then he just gets it going and stops looking at it. Because to him, he's in space. It's not really that big of a deal. The bigger thing would be looking at the camera and making sure that you're being the science presenter that you are, and kudos to him for being in space and doing what he does.
So,
well, it's obvious what happened there, but you guys could
yeah, you're right. It's extremely obvious, and I'm surprised that you can't get it. So, right, I think the big question behind all this is the ISS real?
No.
So,
no, I'm saying.
Is there anything above us orbiting?
Well, I know that. Where are you going with that, Craig?
Well, because we need to establish if there is actually something up there with people in.
No, there's not.
Have you got any evidence that there isn't? Because I've got a lot of evidence that there is.
Well, I've got no evidence that there is.
I've got evidence that there is.
Well, you think you do.
No, I have absolute evidence that there is. A very good friend of mine has gathered the evidence for me. Well, not specifically for me, but he did it so that everyone could see.
I know that there's a time that people can go outside with a telescope and see an object flying overhead that looks like the ISS, and I'll call that a drone that's flying a lot lower and it's a lot smaller, and it just whizzes by. So if it was as they say,
we can do certain things to determine if that's the case, right?
No, you can't.
Yeah, we absolutely can. Okay, so this is the video by Red's Rhetoric, who still wants that debate with you, by the way. I think we're going to arrange that for next week.
On November 4th, 2017.
He had some personal stuff he had to deal with. I'm not going to go into what it is, right? But, it's going to be next week, you and Reds. Okay, so him and Astronomy Live both went to look at the ISS. They used the ISS tracker to find out when the ISS was going to transit the moon. And they positioned themselves about 1 kilometer apart. All right? And Astronomy Live filmed it, and Red's Rhetoric filmed it. So there was one of the locations. Let me get to the point where we can see it. So when they measured it, sorry, let me get to the right bit so I can show you what I mean. There we go. It's just here. Right. Now, they were a kilometer apart when they took these observations, right? One on the right, which I think was Astronomy Live, and the one on the left, which was Red's Rhetoric. The fact that they were 1 kilometer apart meant that they saw the ISS transit the moon from different positions relative to them, okay? So if you know the distance that they are apart, you know the angular size of the moon, and then you can look on the computer and you can see how big the pixels are based on the ISS. You can do a simple bit of math to actually calculate how fast that is going, how far away it is, and even what size the ISS is. And they just purely based on these observations and nothing else, they didn't get any information from NASA or anything, just based on their observations, they did some math, some pretty simple math, and managed to figure out that the ISS was approximately 450 kilometers up, traveling at approximately 17,000 miles an hour, and about the size of a football field. And lo and behold, the information that they managed to get purely from their own observations match with what NASA says is the case and where the ISS is. And this is something that anybody can do, as long as you know some basic high school trigonometry. And it wasn't even assumed that the Earth was round when they were doing it. They actually did it based on a flat Earth, okay? It was a difference of about 5 kilometers if it was a flat Earth or a round Earth, but that didn't really matter. What they managed to do was figure out the altitude, the speed it was going, and the size of the ISS, purely based on the observations that they got. Why do those observations match with what NASA tells us?
Well, what does that mean, the angular size of the moon?
Well, we know the moon has an angular size, as in the size it appears in the sky. You know, that never changes. That's always the same.
But is it
0.52 degrees or something? Sorry?
No, the moon looks bigger when it's on the horizon than when it's
if it's on the horizon due to refraction and stuff near water, it can change it. But when it's in the sky, just in the sky, it always has the same angular size. That never changes. It's the same all the time. Okay? And based on purely just those observations of the moon's angular size, the position of the ISS transit in the moon, and the parallax based on them being 1 kilometer apart, they were able to calculate the height of the ISS, the speed of the ISS, and the size of the ISS, and it matched with what NASA tell us. Why does it match?
Well, let me ask you this: is the distance, the supposed distance to the moon, part of the equation?
No, but they could actually extrapolate the distance to the moon based on that. All they did was they used the known angular size of the moon in the sky. The distance to the moon didn't matter. The fact that they have this known sized thing in the sky allowed them to do parallax measurements.
Well, what does that mean, a known size thing in the sky?
The angular size of the moon doesn't change. It's the same size in the sky. Right? And you can check all these details yourself. You know the size of the moon doesn't change throughout the night, so you can easily figure out what the angular size of the moon is, okay? And then you can use that information to overlay things on, like the parallax that they had based on the fact that they were a kilometer apart, the pixel size of the ISS on the computer. Let me go back to where that was. So you can even like literally count the pixels of the moon and know that the moon's pixel size doesn't change, right? So in this case, the moon was 962 pixels tall and there was 224 pixels between them. So these things weren't going to change. And then if you do some simple trigonometry, you can calculate the size of the ISS, distance to the ISS, the size of the ISS, and then even extrapolate the distance to the moon from what you've just got.
Extrapolate the distance to the moon?
Yeah, but that's not important. They didn't do that, but they could have done with the figures that they had. The point is that just based purely on their observations and nothing else, they managed to get information that matches with what NASA tells us to be the case. So why do those observations match up? If it's just a drone in the sky, they would have got different figures based on their observations.
Well, I believe they can't calculate what's directly overhead.
Why not?
So you can't do it so accurately with two-dimensional piece of paper with a calculator and some math problems and counting pixels.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
But you cannot do all that, and the angular size of the moon can change. There's too many variables.
The angular
there.
size of the moon doesn't change throughout the day ever. Once it's if it's in the sky, that's its angular size, and it stays the same. And just to dispel your thing about it's a drone flying, Astronomy Live also did another observation of the ISS, and he actually streamed this live, and then he stabilized this and uploaded this footage. I watched the live stream, right? So this is live, looking at the ISS as it's going overhead. Answer me this, Vlad. Is that something that could fly?
It doesn't look like it's flying.
No, exactly. So it's not going to be a drone, is it? There is absolutely no way in hell that could create lift and be something that is flying in our atmosphere. The reason it's going 17,000 miles an hour without any issues is because it's in space where there is no friction. And they calculated the speed as 17,000 miles an hour. If anything was moving 17,000 miles an hour in our atmosphere, it would be on fire, disintegrating. But it's not. It's in space. There's no friction. It's going 17,000 miles an hour, and that was confirmed by purely the details that they got with their own empirical observations.
That thing isn't moving at all. I don't know what it is. And so that's not moving. I don't see it moving. I don't know.
Well, I'm playing it now, right? And the reason it looks like it's not moving is because they stabilized it based on the ISS. So they used some computer software to make sure the ISS was always in the middle of the picture, right? But the reason you know it's moving is because if we look at it at the if we look at it at the beginning, the angle that it's at, right, and we compare that to the angle it's at the end, it's at a different angle. It's shifted in perspective because it's gone over them. So the angle they're viewing it at this point is different to the angle they're viewing it at this point, showing that it has in fact moved.
Well, there's a lot of things going on here, Craig. I'm gonna say this. Number one, the first one you showed me, Wisdom by the Moon, that's some kind of low-flying drone traveling at a high speed. That's what I'm saying it is. No one can prove to me it's not, that it's what you guys are saying. By doing a little math problem, it's not going to, it's not accurate.
Can you tell me can you tell me what kind of drone can fly 17,000 miles an hour?
It's not going 17,000 miles. It's small and closer, so it appears.
Except that based on the parallax of their positions, it's two different people a kilometer apart on the ground. If it was small and local, you wouldn't have had that kind of distance. It actually would have been a lot bigger than just the 224 pixels between their observations. It was these observations, these numbers actually allowed them to figure out the distance. And the question that I still want you to ask, Vlad, is why did they get the same figures that NASA tell us based purely on their own observations? How did they calculate that to be the same?
They're biased, and they have a result that they want to create. No. Don't believe. Listen, I believe it when I see it. Why do you believe in stuff that you don't see with your own eyes? You can't.
I've seen the ISS many times.
No, but you got that funny picture of you on it. If I was on it, I'd believe it. But how come nobody can go on?
So you're going to use the genetic fallacy of unless I do it, it's not true. And you do know that they're planning like space holidays in the ISS, right? Like normal people are going to be able to go up there. Well, I say normal. You got to be fucking rich, but
promises.
Yeah, promises. I mean, Elon Musk is probably a bit crazy, but he's got a plan to have 1 million people on Mars by 2050. That'd be awesome.
Promises. Should have happened by now.
Why should it have happened by now?
Well, because look, the Wright brothers made an airplane that worked around 1906, and not long after, ordinary passengers are boarding planes and flying across the Atlantic Pacific Ocean. Okay, Sputnik got put in space 63 ago, and all we can do is see fake blooper videos. Nobody can go to space. Nobody
Well,
can orbit Earth.
you've just assumed that
Get
they're
high-
fake there, and you're saying nobody can go to space, but people go
Why?
to space all the time.
Why? But why? No, they don't. I don't go. A regular guy can't. How come a regular guy can't purchase a,
Because
a
that
ticket?
technology, well, a regular guy, you've got to have a lot of money, but regular people will be
why-
able to go into space.
Why is it got
Blue Origins.
Why
the
does it have
tech-
to be so expensive in the first
Because
place?
the
There are people-
technology, right, okay, answer me this. Do you know how much it costs to get an empty container into space? Right? If you look at, let's look at the Apollo rockets, right? The Apollo rockets, like 80%, probably even more than 80% of that rocket, entire mass, was fuel. Right? Most of what they use to get people up there isn't what they're trying to get up there. A tiny, tiny little payload like this requires a rocket this big full of fuel to actually get into space. It's not cheap to get into space, but what SpaceX and companies like it are doing is developing the technology to make it more economically viable, creating reusable boosters, etc., etc. The technology will get cheaper and cheaper. But you're saying about, oh, how come the Wright brothers made a plane but we're not in space right now? Well, what year did the Wright brothers first fly? Like early 1900s, right?
Well, I'm saying they made a plane in the early 1900s, and not
but they made a plane in the early 1900s, right?
63
120 years later, right? We're talking about sending people to Mars. Do you know how quick that is on the scale of things? Human beings have been around for millions of years, civilization for hundreds of thousands of years. Yet, for hundreds of thousands of years, the best we could do was melt some metal. Along comes the 19th century, and there is this massive jump. And to say that, oh, well, by now we should have regular people going into space is a bit silly, because if you look at the progress of technology throughout human history, it's actually been incredibly slow.
The free market itself proves that space travel is fake, because by now somebody would have made people, any agency, any entrepreneur,
what do you think?
Corporation.
What do you think Jeff Bezos is doing? What do you think Elon Musk is doing? What do you think Blue Origins and SpaceX are? These are people, normal people that are doing this. These are the free markets. These are the independent companies that are trying to make space travel a reality. Not just a reality, but a economically viable thing that we can do.
They can't perform. They've gotten ED issues. They're having erectile dysfunction. They're having erectile dysfunction. They can't produce. They can't make it happen. Why?
Hey, did you watch the abort test from SpaceX the other day? That was fucking brilliant, right? When they got everything to work the way it should. Oh, what about the two women doing the spacewalk on the ISS the other day? That was also pretty good.
Well, we need women doing stuff too, so they got fake things with them doing.
Oh, cool, right.
Women.
Just going to take a break for 2 minutes and read the super chats, Vlad, and then we'll get back to this. Girthy Earth for $2, hashtag Boomer Vlad. Yep. Dennis D for $5. I want to ask Vlad if he properly disposed his pads earlier. I'm assuming he thinks you wear diapers, I think. And then we got Diabetic War Slug is a new member. Guys, make sure you welcome the new member by spamming the picture of team trying to whistle. NA for $6.66. Green, blue screen. Look at those astronaut shirts. Yes. Girthier for $2. There's something wrong with that hat. Brilliant. Andrew Stoll for $2. Is Vlad an NFL replay official? Are you an NFL replay official, Vlad?
I don't get it.
Perfect
What's the
answer.
joke? I want to get the...
Andrew Stoll for another $2. Vlad sounds like John Madden breaking down a film. Mike Hill for $1.99. Evening everyone, FTFE and team, get this flat art. Evening, Mike Hill, welcome. Dennis D for $5. What will he say for helium balloons and gravity? Gravity is needed for it to rise. The external pressure is more below the balloon pushing upwards. Yeah, what do you think about helium balloons, Vlad?
Well, it proves gravity's not that strong. It can escape the force of gravity. Gravity's weak. There is, I'm okay with there being, you can call it gravity. There's a force that pulls things downward a little bit. It's not strong enough to pull a helium balloon down. It's not strong enough to pull a butterfly down. It sure as hell can't hurl planets. You know, it's
I'll
not,
explain why. I'll explain why that's wrong in a second. Bella charge for 2 New Zealand dollars. It's for reasons I don't need proof, you foolish man. Mike Hill 199. I have brain damage and I'm still smarter than Vlad. End flat Earth for $5. Vlad. Reality can't be real because someone must be lying. Is that it? Trips a night for €5. Ding ding ding. Craig Still for £3. That's not the ISS. It's a Star Wars TIE fighter. Yes. Better charge for 2 New Zealand dollars. Everything is small and local, you should know that. And better charge for 5 New Zealand dollars. For lots of millions, you could go bribe the Russian NASA paying several million to put an astronaut on the rocket. I'm sure with enough money you could. Arnie Rogic for 50 Nokias. Please offer to teach him parallax. Ask if he owns a protractor. And X-Penguin 95 for £2. Has Vlad not heard of Dennis Taito? Right, yeah. So you said there that a helium balloon disproves gravity. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, look, there appears to be a force that pulls things downward slightly. That's fine. You could call it gravity. I can call it gravity. That's fine. But to say that this same force is hurling planets one around the other is absurd. That universe you guys are making up.
I've got the maths to show that it is possible based on gravity. But,
gravity's not strong enough to say it does, and it doesn't.
Except I've got the maths to say that it is strong enough. Have you got the maths that you can show me to say that it's not? Because your assumption that a helium balloon is defying gravity is very wrong. The thing about a helium balloon is it's less dense than the air it's in, meaning the air around it has more mass, meaning it's pulled down more than the helium balloon, creating a pressure on the bottom and pushing it up. That can only happen because of gravity.
Okay, so the little tiny difference in density between the helium balloon and ordinary air is able to cause the balloon to rise. How weak is that gravity? Just a little difference.
No, gravity's pulling the air down. Gravity's pulling it all down, but because the air has more mass than the balloon, it's pulling the air down more. Right, Vlad. There's a simple experiment to kind of explain this, okay? If you're in a car with a helium balloon, right? What happens to you if you're in a car and you slam the brakes on? What way do you go? You go forward, right? Do you know what happens to a helium balloon in a car that's got the brakes slammed on? It goes the other way. Because the air is more heavy and the air is being pushed forward more than the balloon, meaning the balloon goes backwards. It's the same principle for gravity. The air has more mass, it's being pulled down more than the balloon, which creates a pressure on the bottom of the balloon pushing it up. That's because of gravity. The same way that a helium balloon goes backwards in a car because of the apparent force that's pushing all the air and the people forward.
That's okay, Craig, but I'm saying your gravity is a weak force. It's not strong enough to hurl planets one around another, and for the sun to hurl Pluto around itself the same way it hurls Mercury around itself. How does that work? When Mercury is closer and about the same size and density as Pluto, only Pluto is so much further, how is that same gravitational field of the sun hurling Mercury around itself and also Pluto around itself?
Because gravity isn't the thing that is hurling them around, okay? What you're missing is something called the conservation of momentum. When something's moving, it's going to keep moving unless there's something that stops it moving, right? And Mercury and Pluto are both moving really fast through space. However, they are both in freefall towards the sun. All right? They're both literally in freefall towards the sun. But because their linear velocity is fast enough, it misses the sun and keeps falling towards it. That's the basis of what an orbit is. It's the same with the ISS. The ISS is in freefall towards the Earth. That's why the astronauts float, okay? Because it cancels out the gravity. But even though the ISS is constantly falling towards the Earth, it's traveling at a speed fast enough that it misses the Earth and keeps going around. And because there's nothing in space to slow it down, it's going to stay at that speed that keeps it going around the Earth. The same with orbits of Mercury and Pluto. They're both traveling in a direction fast enough away from the sun that even though they're being pulled towards it, they miss it and keep going around.
Or I'm going to say two things you brought up, Mercury and Pluto, and you brought up the the ISS.
Yeah,
Number
because
one, Mercury.
orbits are the same.
Okay, Mercury and Pluto. If you had a rope tied to one bowling ball that's close to you and another one that's further away, it would work if you hurl them around. You know, they're I know what you're saying. They're like it's not being hurled around quite. It's falling towards you, but it's still, you can't deny it's being hurled around, because in one sense the planet is traveling in one direction. It would, if you were to cut that rope that's holding it, that you're holding onto, okay, the bowling ball would fly away, right?
Yeah.
So if
and
you cut,
the same,
okay,
right? If you were to all of a sudden just take the sun out of the center of the solar system, right? All those planets
Right.
would just carry on in the direction they're going. You know, so
Right.
you've got
Okay,
you've
here's the
got you've got Earth going around the
problem.
sun like this, right? You take the sun away, at this point, Earth's just going to keep going that way. But
Okay,
the
so here's
sun,
the
the
problem.
sun is that rope. The gravity of the sun is that rope.
Okay, but here's the problem. It's not a rope. You're talking about an extremely delicate balance. You've got
Yeah.
one planet shooting in one direction, and it's going in a circle because an invisible, like, tractor beam, not a rope, not a chain, that has a certain amount of tension it can withstand before it breaks. Think about like an invisible tractor beam that kind of wants to pull that planet in, yet because the planet wants to shoot one way, it balances out. How do you balance that for every planet with different size, different weight, and different distance from the sun and different speeds? How does the same gravitational pull not suck them in or release them at some point? That's where you're,
because they're all right during the creation of the solar system. Right, so when stars, I have to go back a bit to kind of explain this. Right, stars were first formed. I think I want to say like 3 million years after the Big Bang or something. Right, okay. After the production of photons and the recombination event to create atoms and everything happened, then millions of years later you had stars created, hydrogen and helium, right? As these stars burn off their nuclear fuel, they create heavier and heavier elements, and they get to a point where the pressure from the fact the elements are so heavy outweighs the gravitational force, and the star will explode. And that's how you get planetary nebulae that then will start forming a new star, but all the bits that are left over from that explosion are what forms the planets eventually. And as the sun and everything gets formed, the star gets formed from the gases that are left, everything naturally kind of spins around as it gets pulled into it. And that creates a velocity that everything has. And because of the conservation of momentum, that velocity is never going to change. Most of the material from the solar system ended up being back in the sun. But the bits that were left over, the very minute... If you guys can hear me, I am just getting stuff set back up. Bear with me for 1 minute. Now vMix seems to have crashed. Come on. Bear with me, guys. Come on, stupid vMix. There we go. Right, let's get them back in the call. Sorry about that, guys. Wonders of modern technology. My computer literally just blue screened in the middle of my thing. Right, there's a link for team. And let's get one for Mr. Vlad. I do apologize, guys. Wonders of modern technology and all that. Although I don't understand, my computer is a relatively powerful, pretty new computer. And it really shouldn't be doing this. It does it far more often than it should. Brainy Beaver said he's going to help me with that. Okay. Right. They have links. Oh, I've muted Skeppy. There we go. Yeah, computer blue screen team.
Yo, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, whenever I can't stay for too much longer. I need to. My son just got home from work, and I want to have dinner with him.
Yeah.
So, when Vlad comes in here, I want to ask him one of the super chats that came in before I leave.
Okay, okay. Whilst we're waiting for him to come back, I'll just read out the super chats. So Ryan,
Skip the one from Mr. Unite from the children. The 1111.
Yeah, Craven Mordick, I should be going to bed. I'll probably be only going for about 20 minutes more anyway. So anyway, Gripper Crapper for $9.99. He doesn't get the math stuff. You got to speak a language he understands. Ask him how his eyes can see depth, allowing him to judge distance. Magic. Carrie Oliver, $33.33. Thank you very much for your super chat. Vlad desperately needs his triangle calculator and Illuminati handbook. He failed the litmus test. Flunchy for $5 Canadian. You're brainwashed if you think Buzz Armstrong walked on the moon 30 years ago. No, he absolutely did. There's still stuff there from when he did it. Mr. Unite for... Oh, no, going to annul that one. Copernicus Thinker for $2. Numbers can be real tricky for flat earths. Yes, they can. And Copernicus Thinker for another $2. Cookie understands this far better than Vlad. Yes, Cookie does. Where is she? Oh, she's asleep over there. I've given Vlad a new link. I don't know if he'll manage to rejoin because he's a Flerf. But we were talking about orbits, right? Yes, we were talking about orbits.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're doing one there right now. Yeah.
So I'll be honest with you. I was telling the chat exactly what life's like for me in most of these debates. I get the front row seat, but I'm cheering I'm out there playing with the crowd, with the celebrities in the crowd right now, cheering on our champion, the victor, FTFE. So unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention to that. That's why I had Mr. Unite for the children's super chat lined up, and I was like, oh, no fucking way anybody's asking this but me. So.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one, Mr. Unite for the children. But yeah, we were talking about orbits, and what no flat earther seems to understand is that orbits are a balance. Because it is a balance between the fact of how fast they're going and the rate at which they're being pulled to Earth. A lot of stuff didn't manage to get in orbit. A lot of the planetary nebulae that end up forming our solar system went back into the sun and didn't get into an orbit. But there was, I think, 2% of all the matter in the solar system became the planets that orbit the star in the middle. And that's not unreasonable to think that 98% of stuff failed to get in orbit and the other 2% managed to be in an orbit. That's not hard at all. Marty Moose, I can't figure out if this guy in the chat is real or not, because he keeps saying some incredibly strange things, like remember the video of the ISS where you can see what appears to be a shadow on the ground, but it's quite clearly just like a smudge.
No, I've not seen that one.
Oh, he's saying that it's actually a shadow. We'll just get that up whilst ISS shadow on Earth. Oh,
there was one thing I hope he's coming back, because there's something I want to ask him, because he made a really dumb comment. He said that I'm trying to remember how he worded it, that because of like the capitalistic nature of humans, right? That space doesn't exist because of our capitalistic desires. Like if space would have existed, then we would have already sent technology into space to colonize space and start reaping it for its rewards and bringing those like the rare earth elements and whatnot that we could possibly find on some of these asteroids. Why aren't we out there doing that? Therefore, space must not exist. Well, by that logic, the Earth is only possibly like 8 miles deep. That's it.
Yeah.
Because if it was any deeper, then our capitalistic nature would have taken us beyond 8 miles deep, and I think that's what the Russian borehole or whatever it's called. I think that's what the depth it made it to, around somewhere around there. Just purely bad logic.
Oh man, it's making me sign in to confirm my age for this video. I don't know why you gotta confirm your age to see someone think that someone's a shadow that isn't. Yeah, so there's a video where you can see like a black dot following the thing in space. Oh yeah, .com, that would help. All right, here we go. I'm waiting for Vlad to come back. He doesn't appear to be.
No, he needs the 1 + 1 + 1.
All right, that's not letting me sign in to actually view that.
We need to do that.
Right. This is the easier way to do it. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna get this up. Right.
And he started asking a new question. If the internal angles are 90 degrees on a triangle, what's the third angle?
Yeah. Right, so in this video, you can see what appears to be see the black dot?
That?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the shadow?
Yeah, that people are saying that that's a shadow of the ISS cast on Earth. First off, the ISS is not that shape. We've seen the shape the ISS is. Secondly, let's look at it here as it goes over what is clearly a mountainous region into some kind of valley, and notice how it doesn't change shape or like go down or anything, and it's even on top of the fucking
it would be.
Marty Moose, if you're saying that that's anything other than a smudge, you are mentally retarded. Please go and seek help. You may have a brain tumor. Marty Moose says, so play Smudgegate and peer review it, please, FTFE. I don't think you know what the term peer review means.
Peer review that. You can't peer review that.
Marty, peer review what? Peer review what is clearly a fucking smudge on the monitor or wherever they're filming. There is no way that that is something casting a shadow onto Earth. It doesn't look anything like that. You have to be joking. Marty, I'm directly addressing you here, Marty Moose. Are you being serious or are you just joking?
What just happened? Go back over that just a second. Like rewind it a little bit. As it went over the water, it had a brown circle around it. I don't know any shadows that carry their environment with them.
No.
But go ahead and replay it. Go back a little bit.
Oh, there.
Oh wait! I'm sorry. I'm watching on the thing. Let me full screen you. I'm watching on the YouTubes.
No, I've got
look at that.
On, so it shouldn't be too far behind. I mean, that's clearly not a shadow. Marty, you have to be joking. Rad Vlad, if you're in chat, I've sent you a link. What's Vlad's? I have no sound. Vlad, that's because it got disconnected. You need to rejoin. Is he still there?
We have we have Surf that says, "Do let FTFE know that Marty is joking." That makes a lot more sense. And then H2O Water says, "Team Skeptic, please do not give my channel a shout out and tell people to subscribe. My YouTube space may or may not exist. Let's find out." Well, hey, you know what? Go subscribe to H2O Water, guys.
Apparently Marty Moose was just joking. Yes, I only get every 10th message. I'm glad you were just joking, Marty Moose, because when people actually present that as evidence, I can't help but laugh.
I was about to go eat a moose burger just for that.
Vlad, I've sent you a new link. You have to click on the new link, Vlad. It's not hard. When he comes back, you can ask his question. Then we're going to start wrapping up because it is now 25 to 5 in the morning for me. My kids get up to go to school in about 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. If we're about to wrap up, I'll just hang out until we leave.
I wanted to come back so you can ask that question. And guys, just I know I've said this loads, but I really do appreciate the super chats. It means a lot to me. It means that I can continue to do this. But if you aren't able to super chat, it doesn't matter. The way that you can help this channel is by sharing on your Facebooks, on your Twitters, your MySpaces, your Bevos. You know, just scroll the name FTFE over cars and stuff you see in the street. Print out my channel onto some bits of paper and just post it through people's doors. Just run around the street at night, just screaming, subscribe to FTFE. It all helps my channel. Also, I'm not bailing you out if you get arrested for doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, me neither. I would like to plug a video that's coming out of mine real quick. I think everybody's gonna really like these videos. Me, Planar Walk, and AB Science are doing a 3-part video. First part will be on my channel, second part will be on AB Science's channel, and third part will be on Planar Walk's channel. It's on climate change deniers, and it's a really good video. Like, we all put a lot of work into this video, into the research and making sure that we got things right, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy that video. It's a little long, of course. It's 30 minutes a piece on each person's channel is what it looks like it's going to come out to. So it's pretty much a fucking mini movie, but I think the crowd will like it. I think the people will like it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. Anything with AB Science and Planar Walking is going to be good. Rad Vlad, seriously, just click on the new link that I've sent you. It shouldn't be that hard. What am I talking about? You're a flat earther.
It was Rad Vlad, dude. Rad Vlad, do it the same way you did it before, but with the new link. Just click on it on your phone. Don't try to come through the computer and figure it out that way. Just do it through the link. Get in here so we can get going.
Justin Frank says, I told Alexa to plug your channel, but I don't think she understood. And 2AHD Cat says, okay, I'll spray paint sub to FTFE on the side of my cat. That help. No, don't fuck with the cats. Seriously.
Don't do it on the cat. Go do it on the police station.
Yeah.
2HD.
In fact, just go up to a police officer and just like with a paintbrush on his chest, FTFE. You'll be fine. No issues. Vlad, I don't know if he's coming back. I'll message him again. God
damn it. Well, I'm gonna wait. Hey. I need to get that. I need to write that super chat down because that super chat needs to be a part of the next when we change everything up a little bit, because you know we can't ask flat earthers the same questions because eventually one of them's gonna actually watch long enough to go, oh, it's 111 60 60 60. I need to know this, so we need to change it up a bit. So the next time, I'm not even gonna say how I'm gonna pose the question, but god damn it, it's gonna be so goddamn confusing. I mean, it's going to be so straightforward.
Oh, you keep saying there's no sound. Yeah, because you haven't clicked on the new link. Oh, he says that he sees us.
Hey, happy birthday, John Rapp. He says, hey, John Rapp says, can I get a happy birthday, FTFE and team? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my friend.
FTFE and team.
Let me give him a new link. Okay. Oh, did I just actually send the right one? Yes, I did. Right, there's another new link, Vlad. Please come back because we have some questions for you. Some very important questions. Butt slaughter.
Oh, I think Clive Wells might have been accidentally timed out there. I think he might have actually been timed out there because he just said 2 triangle. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Clive. Those are the types of new questions we need to ask them.
Can you hear us, Vlad?
Is more like.
Right, we can't hear you now, Vlad. Oh, there we go.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now. Welcome back.
All right.
Sorry, my computer literally just died. It blue screened whilst I was talking to you about orbits. But before we carry on, Team Skeptic has a question for you.
Shoot.
Yes, Vlad, this is one of those litmus test questions, okay? So let's say, I want to say, if you have a rectangle with two sides that are equal, and we'll call those X, two sides that are equal, we'll call those Y, and each side of the rectangle is a value of 1. So it's a rectangle of values 1, 1, 1, and 1. What are the internal angles?
You're asking me nerd questions. I don't know about that stuff.
Maybe I can rephrase it in a little simpler. I've got a square. I've got a square. What are the internal angles of a square?
Who cares? Square. I don't play with those.
Brilliant.
I have no need.
No need for squares. Squares don't matter. Right. Vlad, did you understand what I was saying about orbits? I think the important thing that I was getting to is that 98% of the solar system is the sun. There's 2% that isn't the sun, that is the stuff that orbits the sun. So when you're saying, oh, how can there be all these things that are perfectly balanced? Only 2% of all the matter in the solar system actually managed to get into an orbit. That's not a large amount, is it?
But see, it doesn't matter because if it's that 2% you're talking about, within that 2%, there are massive differences in distance and size of the mass in that 2%. Jupiter is way bigger than Mars. Even though they're close to one another. But my favorite one is Mercury and Pluto. About the same size, about the same density. Yet one is very close to the sun. The other one's the furthest one out there, like 4 billion miles or something, 4 billion light years. I don't know.
Wait, did you say Pluto's 4 billion light years away?
I don't know. 4 billion miles. I don't know what the Google. I could just click Google. It'll tell me the exact number. So it's not a problem. I don't do stuff. But I know that Pluto is way farther. But the problem for you is that
no, it's not a problem
the sun
for us.
has a set. Yeah, it is, because you guys have something that doesn't work, and you believe in things you don't see. I believe in stuff I see. Team Skeptic.
We can see Pluto.
Believer. You both saw an astronaut obviously doing something with his hand that we all know means he hands something from one hand to the other. And you guys are pretending that you don't see them.
Do it like this.
Okay. Pinocchio. But so
Vlad for DFOTY 220.
Gravitational. The sun has a set gravitational force, yet it's able to hurl different sized objects at different distances from one another around itself. Like nothing gets sucked in and nothing gets let go. How is it all perfectly balanced?
Because only 2% of the stuff ended up being perfectly balanced. The rest of it went into the sun. This is the tiny... No, it's not, because you're saying how can all this stuff... But most of most of everything went into the sun and helped create the sun. The 2% that is left over from the planets and the Kepler belt and the inner solar system belt... That's like the tiny bits that were left over that were in a particular velocity and a certain distance away from the sun that allowed them to create an orbit. Obviously, when you're talking about gravity, there's two things that are important. The mass of the objects and the distance between the objects. Pluto is a lot further away than Mercury, so actually has a different gravitational acceleration acting on it than Mercury does. But the combination of the gravitational acceleration it does have, matched with its velocity, its linear velocity away from the sun, means that it misses the sun and continues to orbit around it. It's not going to change that because there is nothing in space to slow down Pluto.
Well, the same thing goes for Mercury, right?
Yeah, there's nothing in space to slow down Mercury either.
So you can't balance them both perfectly. the
Well,
same gravitational force and
but
strength
you,
to work. Even little 2%, that 2% sinks your whole.
But there is no issue because you have to take into account the distance that Pluto is from the sun and the distance that Mercury is from the sun, and then you have to see what velocity they're going, and you see that they both match out and that you create an orbit. There is no issue with the fact that there is different planets orbiting at different distances away from the sun. Each planet has its own orbital velocity that makes it so that it doesn't go into the sun. And again, 98% of the stuff didn't manage to do that. Only 2% of it did.
But that 2% of your battleship.
Someone phoning you again.
Unbelievable.
You need to pay your dealer, dude.
Oh, is he out of here? I'm sorry, I
think
just
he's
sat back
gonna
down. I
rejoin.
was talking to my kid. I can't really stay too much longer. I need to start cooking food and stuff.
We're going to start wrapping it up anyway. I think Vlad's going to come back, and then we're going to call it a night for tonight. As always, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Team, why don't you just say what you need to say, and then you can get yourself out of here first.
Let's see. Tomorrow night we're going to be on my show or my channel talking about the debate, the modern day debate, because I don't know. I mean, I know people have questions or people want to make comments or whatnot. I kind of want to go over a few of the things, like some of the technical difficulties we were having. Unfortunately, they were giving the Wi-Fi password out, I believe, to other people. And so there was a lot of people that were trying to stream and trying to do a whole bunch of stuff online, which kind of fucked up the modern day debate, fucked up the viewer experience at least. It really didn't fuck up things there at the shop for us, but kind of fucked up the viewer experience. And when I went back and watched the video, there were like 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time that would cut out, and then it would go from like in the middle of someone talking to James coming back on saying, hey, okay, now we're back. And so, I don't know. It was good. I had fun. It was fun. I told James I'd be more than happy to do it again anywhere. So, and we'll talk about all that tomorrow because he's doing something really cool for me for helping him out. And I'm going to kind of make it a community thing, what the benefit is. So. But we'll talk about it tomorrow night on my channel.
It was certainly an entertaining time watching you debate Nathan Thompson live. We'll talk about the email and stuff that he sent me as well tomorrow. That'd be fun.
Can you guys hear me again?
Yes, we can hear you, Vlad.
When somebody calls me on the phone,
Craven Mordig says time. I'm about to get out of here, Vlad. So let me say what I gotta say. Craven Mordig says time, and the time will probably be about 6 p.m. tomorrow Central. Vlad, I'm out of here, man. Take it easy, and we'll chop it up next time, okay, bro?
All right, Team Believer. Good talking with you, bro. Have a good one, man. Look forward.
All right.
We'll see you tomorrow, team. Take it
easy.
All
right, Rad Laser. Later.
That's Team Skeptic, and he's out.
All right, Team Believer. He's not skeptical at all. He believes whatever he's told to believe, man. It's amazing.
Except he can back up everything he says. There is that.
Nothing skeptical about that guy that I can see.
Except that he can back up everything that he says, and he can take apart any flat Earth claim and be very skeptical about it. Strange.
No, but he wasn't skeptical about the guy who's passing an invisible object from one hand to the other.
No, he was very skeptical. He actually explained the physics behind the movements he was doing. That's the thing about us, Vlad, is that we're not only skeptical, but we are able to explain things using the physical laws of the universe.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing.
Absolutely I got my
amazing.
Sidekick.
Yes,
my trusty sidekick.
I hope we don't try and indoctrinate her while she's there. But Vlad, it is 10 to 5 in the morning for me, so we're going to start wrapping this up. I want to say thank you for coming on at short notice. I do appreciate it. I know you were busy doing family stuff today, and so thank you for stepping in and taking the place of Flat Ferdinand, who is, let's face it, Flat Ferdinand is just a second-rate Rad Vlad. He's no Rad Vlad, is he?
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
he's not.
We'll get you back on sometime to have a good conversation with Team. And there is the debate you're going to be having with Red's Rhetoric next week, I believe, on his channel. So we'll be getting that all set up. Would you like to say anything to the audience before we go?
God bless all you guys. We love you. Take care, man. Have a great year, everybody.
Thank you very much. Speak to you later, Vlad.
All right.
Guys,
okay,
thank you very much for joining me. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I've said, if you can't super chat, please don't worry. Just share my channel on all the social medias with your next door neighbor, with your cat, anything that you want. Please, any sharing can help, and I really do appreciate all the members and patrons and super chats. It allows me to continue to do this full time. I'll have a new video out, not tomorrow, probably on Wednesday, about a new Flerf that I have found. He's absolutely incredible, so we'll enjoy that. And then I'll have a new video with Team Skeptic out shortly after that. But for now, please guys, have a good night. If it is early in the morning, time to go to bed. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat.